Hey everyone, this is Chris and Sandy Bent with the Chris and Sandy Show. We get up close and personal with some amazing guests throughout the entertainment industry. And today, like I see on every episode, we got a great one for you. Who do we have?
We have Raleigh Keegan with us today. His songwriting pulls from an unconventional upbringing. His birth mother was incarcerated on drug-related charges when he was born. He was adopted by a loving family just a few days later. He is releasing his new album, Clocks Roll Forward, on October 15th. He has recently been featured in People, Rolling Stone, American Songwriter, Billboard, Music Row, and many more.
And it's actually releasing tonight at midnight, he said, which is
tonight
the 15th.
midnight, yeah.
And we're excited to have him on. So welcome to the show.
Yes, welcome.
Well, thanks for having me, guys. It's a pleasure to be here and to meet both of you.
The same here. I always like to start the show out the same way. And hopefully I'm not so rusty right now because it's been
like 2 weeks.
Almost 2 weeks since we had a show. We went to Nashville and Kentucky for a vacation and stuff.
Yeah, like a 9-10 day vacation.
But I like to start the show out the same. How has COVID affected you and what you do? And what have you done this last 18 months to kind of maneuver through the craziness?
Well, one thing it did was it reset every part of my life. And it was a blessing in disguise because I got to spend more time with my wife and I got to rethink about what really matters. I got to write. I wrote like 150 songs over the past year.
Oh, wow.
I got to slow down for the first time in my career. But of course it's been challenging. It's like you're on the brink of, especially as like a, coming up artist as myself, like you're on the brink of, bankruptcy all the time. It is what it is.
And then this.
Yeah.
It's what it is. And even if you're not a superstar, everybody was feeling that pain. And so that was really tough because we had to change our budget. We had to change the way we lived. But I've had to maneuver through it because of, social media. I started a podcast. I realized, my goodness, these phones we're on is the only way people are discovering music now. Like, it's such an interesting time because it's uncharted territory. Nobody knows what's going on. Nobody knows how social media is affecting us. But here we go, and it's happening. It is happening.
Yeah, there's no do A, B, C, and get D results. It just don't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing that during the pandemic, I had to come to the realization with, and that's to enjoy the journey and to not. There's literally no science in this business. Like there is no. You go to med school, you get a degree, and then you have a job. That does not exist. You can be. I know some people who no one in the music industry has any idea who they are, and they are some of the most talented people probably in the country, and they have no idea who they are. And that's what I mean when I say there's no science. Like you can't just go to Broadway, play a show and get discovered. It's figuring out what angle that kind of works and like doubling down on that. And for me, it was like, oh, that doesn't work. Oh, that doesn't work. Oh, I see that this is working some. Okay, let's go down this path. And funny enough, over the past couple of years, what I found works is when I literally just do and put out music that I like. That seems simple. It's not simple. It's not easy either. There's outside pressure. There's all of these things. And the funny thing is like if you're authentic to what you like, people connect with it, even if they don't connect with the story.
Yeah,
you connect with. It's interesting.
Yeah, I definitely get that because I remember when we launched this show in January 2020, one of my Nashville friends, I asked what kind of advice would he give me? And I remember him telling us, whatever you do, be and stay authentic. He said, you can tell every Bobby Bones joke. You can tell every Ty Bentley joke. And you might even create an audience, being someone else, so to speak. But he said, the day will come when authentic Chris comes out. And when that day comes, you're going to lose every bit of your audience because they were never attracted to the real you. So if you be and stay authentic from day one, you may grow slower, but you'll gain the right audience in the meantime.
Yeah. And this might be just me personally, but I don't know how happy I'd be if I made it being someone that I don't like. I mean,
Yeah,
That's true.
that's true.
I mean, to me, this whole thing isn't worth the quote unquote fame and money of it. It's worth it because
You're doing your thing.
music and it brings you people value and it brings me joy to make, you know?
Yeah.
And, speaking of COVID, that's like, we launched January 2020, a couple months before COVID. And I remember our original plan was to do 100 interviews last year. We thought if we could do that, be a great foundation. And then COVID happens. And I'm watching everything get shut down. I told Sandy, I was like, this could actually be a blessing in disguise for us because of what we do.
It actually was.
And because of that, we're at over 460 interviews since launch.
I believe it. I mean, I remember the first month of that pandemic, I was literally I went live every single day. All I was doing was on the phone, everything.
Yeah.
Like we're all stuck at home and
Right.
and yeah, I could see how that could happen for you guys.
So, a lot of people ask, when did you know you wanted to do music? But I like to go deeper than that. When did it click for you that this could actually be a career move?
Oh, I was a personal trainer and I caught the bug and I put out some demos while we were living. We lived in Lexington, Kentucky right after college for a minute.
Oh,
And put out some demos and they were awful. They're not on the internet anymore, but they weirdly worked on the internet. And one of them, which people still request this song, even though I hate it, it's called Kentucky Queen and it's off the internet. But they still.
She's from Kentucky.
Yeah.
Yes.
My wife's from Kentucky. Yeah.
Yeah. Pikeville area.
Oh, cool. I dated a girl from Pikeville. Didn't work out. Not her fault. Okay. Anyways, no. And then I really caught the bug because people online started to like some of these songs that I put out. And that's when my wife and I decided I quit my job, had to pay bills, pay our mortgage with music. And and then we sold our house to pay for my first real record. And that was wild. I don't know if I would recommend that to people, but sometimes, you look back and you're like, man, oh, that was very kind of God not to let me go into
We got those moments.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's perfect lead in. And that's perfect lead in for where I want this to go now, because as you know, a lot of people, they see the glory behind a Blake Shelton, a Miranda, a Carey, but they don't see the grind, the sacrifice, the tears, the struggles that it takes, not just to get to their level, but even a career level within music. Now, I always want to talk about that because I think it's one of the most sugar-coated, glossed over thing because nobody really talks about it. On our show,
I won't sugarcoat it.
And you kind of already hit some of it. So let's talk a little bit about some of the sacrifices and struggles you and your wife had to go through, even to get to where you are today.
Golly.
And keep it raw.
Say first things first. You have to have a really gracious partner and a very. I just can't say that enough. That's one thing. She stuck through me through this whole thing. She stuck through me when I had less than 100 followers on Twitter. You know what I'm saying? And have grown leaps and bounds since then. But gosh, it's not for the faint of heart. It looks, everybody on the internet presents themselves, the best version of themselves at all times. Mm-hmm. Really what it is, I mean, even yesterday, I'm like up and down like a roller coaster. I have an album coming out tomorrow. And yesterday I'm thinking, am I the worst artist on earth? Like, and it's not easy at all because it's also a business based on opinions. And one opinion can or cannot dictate your whole future. So it's an insane business. Like I said earlier, there's no science to it. And we've had to go through so much. Like if my wife wasn't like completely on board, I mean, for 3 years there, I was gone over 150 days year,
Wow.
you know? And the first time I remember we pulled off. This is my very first tour. We were on the way up north to Minnesota, and I was going to be gone for 6 weeks straight. And Shelby, she didn't let me know it, but she was like a wreck, an absolute wreck. And she was mad at me for like that whole month.
Wow.
And
wow.
just like, how could you do this to me and all this stuff? And that's just me being real. And then
Yeah.
slowly but surely, you know, she became, on the Raleigh Keegan train, and I started having some success. I mean, a lot of it was like agonizing, like one foot in front of the other, like, and after a few steps, she really got on board. And then, oh, you're in People Magazine now, and you're in Rolling Stone, and now it's like she's super excited. But for the longest time, you got to think, like, I left a stable job to do where I could work as hard and be as good as possible, and it could still not work out. You know what I'm saying? It's a wild thing to chase after, but at the end of the day, she knows
Passion.
she knows what music means to me. She knows it gives me life. And I feel like we're in a really good place now, which is I'm very thankful for that.
And we totally get where you're coming from, because, we want to one day be a Bobby Bones show, a Ty Bentley show, a Kelly Clarkson's type show on TV possibly. But we're chasing that same dream you're chasing, but on a different platform, and the struggles. And, we do side jobs in the evenings so we can stay afloat, so that we can stay flexible.
Sometimes morning and evening.
And we deliver food, and we delivered food this morning. We'll be delivering food later. So we can be flexible to build the show and keep it going. Because again, one thing I've learned about entertainment is, and in doing this for almost a couple years now, and interviewing almost 500 people, the big ones that we have interviewed, it's almost all the same. You have to work really hard, almost to where you die. You never know when it's going to work. And when you have that one breakthrough, it's usually almost like a miracle, where someone opens a door that just explodes you. And everybody that we've interviewed has that same story, where one person believed in them so much that they opened the door. But it took doing that, even though that was kind of a luck thing that some people would call it. We call it a God thing. But they still had to do all that work. It took the work to lead to that point.
Yeah, it's an incredible amount of work. It does look like it's not from the outside. I understand how people are like, well, you just get to do this. You get to
have fun.
Like that. But it's like it's the grind. It's absolutely the grind. And but once again, what makes it worth it is like the connectivity and the music. And I don't know, if it wasn't for that, I mean, there's way easier ways to make money, y'all. Way easier.
Yes.
Most definitely. Now, as we lead into your album, tell us a little bit about what inspired that with your mom, your birth mom.
Which part about it?
Oh, the song. One of the songs. Yes.
Yeah. So I always wanted to tell that story. I got to meet her a few years ago, and that was just this really sweet moment where I got to thank her, and got to hear all about what happened, why it happened, all that. And I'm just super grateful for her. So I kind of wanted to do a song that would both honor her, but my parents who raised me as well. Like the second song is about them. And so yeah, that's always been a story that I've wanted to tell, and because I really think it's the human story. Like it's a story, right? That's what everybody's craving, and I think it's powerful. It's a real life example of that.
Wow. And I was listening to some of the songs earlier. I like the song "Like My Daddy Was."
Ooh,
that was a real powerful song. Because again, I guess in the song you really don't know if you are like them or not, but there are parts of you that you know you don't want to be like. And I love the way the song was written.
Yeah, I wrote that with Autumn McIntyre, and it's about my birth father. And I think people who relate to it have like someone in their family who either wasn't around or I don't know, didn't have the best relationship with them, maybe a very bad relationship potentially. And what I like about Like My Daddy Was is all of that is true as can be. That's how I felt when I wrote that song.
Wow.
Sometimes I don't know. Once again, it's like, are you going to be honest? Or are you going to sugarcoat it? Like in my music, I want to be honest. You know, I want to tell compelling stories. I want to go from happy songs like, you know, Easy on the Trigger to songs like My Daddy Was that tell a real story, you know, the whole gamut of the human experience. And I think that's what I love about that song. And it's like that, man, that song's probably the realest song on the album.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite song on the album?
Oh gosh, it changes all the time.
Depending on your mood.
Yes.
Depending on my mood. If I'm just in like a good mood, like Sure Like Loving You's fun to listen to. A lot of the time I really like Another Good Day because I love the lyric because it's happy and sad at the same time. It's
that.
like it's sarcastic,
Mm.
kind of is a cultural commentary on what's going on right now. It's kind of Casey Musgraves-ish. And yeah, and I don't know, so it changes. Right now, my favorite is all of them because they're all about to be released.
Yeah, you got to say all of them, right? Because it's about to be released tonight at midnight.
People will find their favorites in the ones they find favorites in, and that's not my job. My job is to create it, let it out. And it's funny, there's not been a consensus of the singles I've released. There has not been one where it's been a consensus. This is my favorite. It's been all around the gamut, and that makes me happy because that's how my favorite albums are. You know, I like all the songs, and the more you listen to them, the more things pop out at you and all.
Anyway. Love that. Now, as you know, a lot of people, they see you as the artist, but they don't see the teams behind you. And in our opinion, the teams never get the love they deserve.
No, they don't.
But on our show, they get some love. So take a few moments to tell us about the team that helps you be who you are.
Yeah, so I have an awesome management team at Vista 22 Entertainment. Dan and Petra, shout out, peoples. And then I have awesome people who book my rights for me, and that's Liz Marin and Rana Reeves over at Showbiz Row Music. And they've really helped develop me as a writer over the past year or two, I guess it's almost been. And then I got to shout out my my girls over at Monarch Publicity, the Butterfly.
Yeah, we like them.
Oh yes, they're
the Butterflies. Yeah, they're the best. Taryn and Heather and Cindy, and so and then we have a digital team as well. But you know, I think you're right in the sense of the teams do a lot of that heavy lifting, which, you know, at first I think every artist has to do that heavy lifting themselves. Like I felt like pushing a 1,000-pound boulder up a hill at first. It was so much work, and then you start, you have a little success after you grind, and then you kind of start outsourcing some stuff when you need to. And without that team, what are you? You don't have anybody to help you. You're in trouble. So,
and I love that analogy you said, because I like the little analogy where in the entertainment industry, and I feel like this too with our show, is it's like you're pushing this boulder up a hill, like you said. I mean, big boulder. You're pushing and you're pushing and you're pushing, and it's so big you can't see around it, so you can't see the top of the hill. But if you look back, it'll start rolling back because you'll lose what little momentum you have.
Yeah.
So you have to just keep pushing, keep grinding, keep pushing, and hope the one day the hill is up there, the top, it. And you just keep pushing, and one day that boulder will go over that top, and then you can jump on the boulder and ride down until you go to the next hill.
Yeah. Yep. That's a great way to put it. I mean, I think the hardest part is getting there, you know, and and then I hear once you're there, the hardest part is staying there. But
Because then you got that next hill to climb.
yeah, I mean, but that's the whole point of it being a journey. And I think everyone goes to Nashville and thinks it's just going to be, I'm going to be a superstar immediately. And that's just never the case. And
they hear that Nashville's a 10-year city and they're like, oh, that won't be me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, some of that is just quite simply out of your control. Like there is some stuff in your control, you know, like you can work hard, you can get better, you can invest in yourself, in your music, in your marketing, in your whatever. But at the end of the day, some of it is completely out of your control.
Yep.
So
love that. Now, speaking of teams, we have a third co-host,
yes,
our 9-year-old that we bring on to ask a few questions. So she's going to go get him. And we've got a 2.5-year-old daughter that when she gets older, she'll be plugged into the show too, because we are a family affair show.
That's awesome.
Got to keep, where we're the opposite of what most art, because most artists, the families have to split until they're big.
Yeah.
I'm finding a way to pull them in.
Yeah.
Even when we're small. So, what, if I can do it, why not?
Yeah, that's great.
But I'm sure one of your plans would be to bring your wife and stuff with you when it gets to that point.
For sure. Like we're inching closer to that day.
Wow. I bet you. I wonder what she will feel like that first year on the road with you, where then she'll get to really see. I mean, she only goes by what you tell her what it's like, but then she'll see, oh, this ain't as easy as it looks.
Yeah. I mean, I am interested to see how that will go too, but it's going to be better than me being gone.
Exactly.
In a way.
All right.
Hi, Raleigh. So what's your favorite foods?
Ooh, favorite foods. I'm going to say Mexican's my favorite food. Any type of Mexican. But I'm from Cincinnati, so I'm going to say Skyline chili is my second, which you probably have never had it. Most people from the South hate it. It's like chili with noodles, and it's got chocolate and cinnamon in it, which is interesting.
I was born in Cincinnati.
You were?
Only lived there like 6 months of my life because my dad was military, but that's where I was born.
Yeah.
My mom's side of the family all live up there.
Cool.
And what's yours?
Mine is pizza.
Oh yeah, as it should be. I think I'm gonna have pizza tonight.
He's done that to a lot of people where he says his favorite's pizza, and they're like, you know what? I'm getting it tonight.
Yeah, no.
All right.
So, what's your favorite TV show?
Ooh. Well, I just finished watching Squid Game, which was number one in the country, and that was very good. But it's a little dark. I would have to say my favorite TV show, the one that's always in the background, is The Office, because it's like my comfort food. I love The Office. I love the humor in The Office. What about you?
Mine is SpongeBob.
Okay. I've seen SpongeBob many times too.
And you know what's been cool about it, because he watches a lot of Nickelodeon and Disney shows now. We've been able to bring on a lot of people from his shows because we're for artists and actors on our show. Cool. And so he's been able to talk to a lot of the people that he look up to on TV, which has been pretty cool.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Next.
All right, so what's your favorite movie?
Ooh. I'm gonna say Lord of the Rings.
Ooh, that's a good one.
What's yours?
Mine is SpongeBob. Oh. Oh no! Minions.
He's thinking SpongeBob. He meant Minions.
Which
there is a SpongeBob movie though.
Yeah, my favorite movie is the Minions.
Okay, cool.
and our little Caitlin, if we're walking in the mall or something and she sees a Minion in a store, we have to go in there. She loves Minions just like he does.
Nice.
So bye, thanks.
Okay, yeah, good to meet you.
Yeah, he loves to do this. He's been on, out of 460 shows, he's probably been on 430 of them.
Oh,
yeah. It's been on most. That's the one good thing about homeschooling, I guess, is you can you can work around our schedule with that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So if you could co-write with any artist, dead or alive, who would it be?
That's tough. Um,
And you can pick one of each, a dead,
Yeah,
one
one of
that's
each.
passed on and alive.
Yeah.
okay, one of each. Let's go. Alive, I would say James Taylor.
Ooh, that'd be good.
That's a great one.
Dead.
We've actually got a person coming on our show who wrote a book on James Taylor.
Oh, that's right. That's
An author coming on soon. I think next week.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool. And dead, I would say, I think I'm gonna have to go with Freddie Mercury.
Oh, yeah.
Another good one.
Love
Yeah,
Queen, love
legend.
Freddie Mercury.
Mm-hmm.
Be really cool to sit down with Johnny Cash too.
Johnny Cash would be great.
We love Johnny. Yeah.
Elvis would be great.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
another
that would
great
be a
one.
really
Yes.
put Johnny Cash and Elvis together.
Together.
Yes,
That'd be a crazy combo.
it would.
That would be the stories you would hear. My goodness.
Oh, wow. Yes.
Yeah, because I went
Amazing.
through 19 years of addictions and I've been sober almost 14 years now. So
Right.
Johnny and June's story really intrigue us
It
because
does.
we see us
Yes,
in
we're so
them.
fascinated.
Yeah.
with the story.
No, that makes sense. And congrats on sobriety, by the way.
Well, thanks. So this probably has 1,000 answers, but just first thing that pops in your head. If you know, what is a song you've heard you wish you wrote?
Oh, well, that just popped in my head, so I'll say it. Whiskey and You by Chris Stapleton.
That's a good one.
That's
Yeah.
between Whiskey and You. I think it's like the non-cheesiest song about whiskey I've heard. You know,
Yes.
what else? Tin Man, the Miranda Lambert.
That's a good one.
Ooh, we love that one.
Probably for sure Merry-Go-Round by Casey Musgraves.
Ooh.
Oh, yes.
3 songs. Yep.
Ain't that the truth about merry-go-round, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
That's
such
right.
a truth song. And that's what we love is the truth songs.
Yep.
Yes.
So, you know, back in 2015, we got to interview Kelsey Ballerini before she was Kelsey. One of the questions I asked was she wanted to be in 5 years. And I always like to tell this story before I ask our guests that same question, because the answer she gave us is almost to the T of what she's living right now. So knowing that, where do you want to be in 5 years?
Honestly, I think times are changing, and I think it's going to be, for me, if I continue the way that I'm going, where I want to be is doing exactly what I want to do, having creative freedom, and making enough money to where I can sell out where I need to sell out, and Shelby can come with me, and we kind of have more of a normal, you know. So I wouldn't necessarily gauge it on numbers necessarily, other than just being able to take care of my family with Shelby not having to work. That's where I kind of see us in the next 5 years.
Wow.
Awesome. What are some sources of inspiration for you?
Oh gosh, there's a lot. There's a lot musically, but you know, a lot of my thinking, people don't know this a lot, but a lot of my thinking and my worldview comes from my Christian faith, and
Yes.
and so there's behind every song and behind I don't know, behind the words, behind my thoughts is that worldview.
Mm-hmm.
It's the color in the background, I guess you could say. I'm trying to think of a good way.
And that's really smart in this day and time that you're a country artist that pulls God into it, because I've had some friends that lean Christian, but they could do country, and I've told them, I think, and it's just my opinion, and other people can have their opinions they want. But in my opinion, if you can do country with some songs that are Christian, because I've learned that if you go the Christian route, you can't ever leave that.
Sure.
Or you'll be shunned. It's like they box you in, and if you do a full country whiskey song, you're going to be shunned from that community. And it's crazy, but
it is.
But that's what happens.
Yeah, it does feel like that. And the other thing too that I think is like there's just already so many Christians who are Christian artists, obviously, and there's like
Yeah.
a whole lot of just regular Christians in the real world. And I think it's important just to be a believer in the real world. Like that's as simple as it gets. And also literally just to follow what sets your heart on fire and be a believer while doing that. That's what I try to do.
I love that because that was my, when I first,
Yeah.
when we first was launching this show and New Country Buzz in the past. And that was one of my things is, trying to settle this idea of being a Christian and blending country music. And I had guilt on that for a while.
Right. And now entertainment in general.
And now we're doing entertainment in general. But in the past, I had guilt on that. And I remember at our church, what turned me around to see things a little different is there was a guy on there that was talking, and he said that he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and he says his dojo is his ministry.
Oh yes.
And he explained that he doesn't go in there to make people change. He goes in there to do what he does. And because of his Christian belief, people see that he's different and all that, and they have changed their life just because of him doing what he does at a high level.
Sure. Yep. I think there's definitely power in that. And I think that's the thing too. It's like be really good at what you're doing, and you will reach people with whatever you're trying to reach them with. And that so happen to be, Jesus. So
yep,
that's what I try to do.
Yeah. And what would you like for your legacy to be? What would you like to be most known and remembered for?
Oh gosh. Well, there's two sides of it. There's me personally and me musically. And me musically, I'm known as someone who told the truth and put his heart into his music. And personally, I would just want to be known as someone who, I don't know, cared more about others and about God than he cared about himself because of the cross. That's just me being real. I normally don't talk, so spiritually, but that's just me being real, and that's how I think in ways I would want to be remembered.
Love that.
Absolutely. And if you could say anything to your fans and followers, what would you want to tell them?
I would say I love y'all, and the album comes out October 15th. I don't know when this is airing, but right now it's probably going to be out. I don't know. Is this live? It says
it's live. We're live.
Yeah.
Okay, it comes out tonight at midnight.
Yeah.
I love that. So as we close out here, if you had a friend of yours and you heard him or her sing and they have something special and they feel like God has called them to music, what advice would you give that specific person to kind of help guide them the next few years?
The idea of starting from scratch to me is so overwhelming. I would tell them, if you're really serious about this, which I would never tell someone if they were just a little bit good, like they were okay, like good, there's some potential there. I would never tell anyone to go after this. I would tell the person who I'm looking at and I'm going, dang, there's something about you, I would, and you're incredible, and no one sounds like. That's the thing too. People think you just have to be really good. No, like you have
more than that.
You have to be you have to have a way better chance. You have a way better chance of sounding different than good. Everyone's good. Everyone's good. But when Carrie Underwood sings, it's Carrie Underwood.
Yes.
And when Dolly Parton sings, Dolly.
When John Party sings, it's John Party.
Yeah.
Eric Church.
When Eric Church sings, he's got specific. When Chris Stapleton sings, when the superstars sing, it's them. And there's a reason for that. So I don't know. I would say if that person had those type of qualities, I would say prepare yourself for the long run. Move to Nashville, because the only other option for you quote unquote making in music would be doing club shows, other places.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
in order to make it, you probably need to do original music, and that's the best place in
Place.
Nashville.
Absolutely. Yes.
Love.
But yeah, I would say get ready for the long run and do not. The biggest thing is do not compare yourself to others. One step forward. Do not look to the side. Keep your head on.
Yeah.
No, love
Be
that.
true
And
to
that's really with
yourself.
anything in life,
Mhm.
you know, like, you know, sometimes married couples can say, well, look at that couple. And then they destroy their marriage because they're comparing their marriage to someone else's.
Right.
Right.
You know, so really, no matter what you do in life, and I think that's one of the big drawbacks to things like Instagram. You know, there was I think a 2020 did a show about how it's destroying a lot of teens' lives because they're like, I got 50 likes.
Yeah.
My friend got 500 likes, and all of a sudden they're like, well, what's wrong with me?
Correct.
Yeah.
It's I think what social media isn't bad in and of itself, but what it's done is it's put like a magnifying glass on the problems that already exist in the human. Like,
That's true.
That's true.
boom.
You know, I never thought of it that way, but that's so true. It's
Yeah.
magnified who we are.
Yeah, it's like it's a microscope to you know, or it's a magnifier of our problems that we already have.
Mhm.
That's the best way I've heard it put, and resonates. So
That's good.
True.
So as we close out, tell everybody how they can find you and find your album.
sure, yeah. You can go find me anywhere on social media at Raleigh Keegan. And my album is out literally everywhere you can find music. And if you want a physical copy, you can order an autographed CD on my website, RaleighKeegan.com. But of course, it's on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music. It's called Clocks Roll Forward. So I'm excited for y'all to hear it.
Love that. You know, we really enjoyed having you on the show today, and we look forward to having you back.
Of course, guys. Thanks for having me.
You have a blessed day.
Thanks for being here.
Bye.
Bye.